7:02. This is Monday, March 25th, and it's 7:02. This is a meeting of the Ortonville Village Council, and we have an agenda here. The first thing that we do is call the meeting to order. The second thing we do is I ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, if they will. Larry Hayden, if you could lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Born and unborn.
Thank you. Takes us to the approval of the agenda. We do have an agenda here. Did 14 turn up twice again? No.
We never have 13.
Never have 13.
We don't have 13, but
We're good.
we move right from 12 to 14 again.
It's unlucky.
It's my bad.
For some whatever reason, that is a recurring
Something. Phobia.
agenda thing.
Fear of the number 13.
Moving on to the agenda. Roll call also, if we can do one of those. See who's here.
Quisenberry.
I'm here.
Nivell.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Hayden.
Here.
Radazos.
Here. Okay, we could roll call the audience, but that would take too long. Next is the approval of council minutes. The village council met in February, and we have a copy of our minutes of the meeting that are,
We have to approve the agenda first.
the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented for Monday, March 25th, 2024.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
Okay, now we can move on to the council minutes. That was from a meeting that we held previously 1 month ago. Those are in our packet for review. They're also at the village office for review. If anybody wants to look at those minutes, they're, of course, always free to do so. As it relates to the council minutes,
I make a motion, we approve the council minutes from February 26, 2024.
Support?
okay, moved and supported. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, those opposed, no. Number 6 is acceptance items. These are items that come into the village office under the normal course of business. They're correspondence, they are notes from other agencies near us. They are just things that we accept, and they don't need to be voted on, accepted, or in any way changed or altered. So we just list them on our agenda so that everybody who sees this agenda knows these are things that we received. So having understood all that, these items are to be accepted by the village council. And again, they don't require a vote. Item 7 is approval of disbursements. The village spent some money this month, and it is up to the village council to approve the expenditures of that amount of money so that we pay our bills and we stay current.
I make a motion to pay our payables ending March 15th, 2024, in the amount of $38,706.37.
Support?
I have
Okay.
a question.
Yes?
According to this piece of paper that is in our thing, the amount of 38,706.37, and it says village amount is 38,655.14. So I just want to clarify which amount was actually dispensed.
And I don't know exactly, so maybe Ryan can tell us.
Yep, it's the full amount, the 38,706.37. It includes DDA, and we do journal entries and transfers, and we do their bookkeeping.
All right, that was all my question.
Perfect.
I have another question. Is the date range on the statement says 1/15/2024 through 2/15/2024, not through March 15, 2024.
15th, yeah.
So,
Catch.
It just didn't get changed.
I was say, my dates are matching.
No, it just didn't get changed.
Yep, it is
top.
February 15th to March
Or
15th.
we just pay early,
oh, it
I
is
guess.
February through March?
That's right.
Okay, so it's just with the.
You know what they say, pay early, pay often.
Just want to make sure we're approving the right
Yep, good
end
catch.
of
Yeah.
period.
Because the checks start on the 28th,
Yeah.
and since
Yeah.
I'm the one.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
It's just the heading.
Yeah. So
Yep,
that's me.
All right. So do we have to have a motion to fix it, to approve it with those corrections?
Well, we did have a motion,
Just
I
have a
think it
motion
was
for the amount,
accepted,
that's
and you
all.
made it, you had a question, but I think now we can
Yep.
roll call this for a vote.
Yeah.
Nivell.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes.
Okay.
That takes care of the expenditures. The next item on the agenda is item 8, which is public comments. Probably what brings a lot of people here today. And there seems to be quite a few people here today that want to speak to the village council. I can just simply call on people one by one. And what I'd like to ask you to do, if you're number 1, 2, or 3, is be to come up here to this podium and, is there a line?
We lined up.
Yeah, we already lined up. Yeah, we already made it easy.
I was going to
We
pass.
thought it was standing room.
I was going to pass out numbers and just have everybody pick a number and do it that way. But if this is
They
the
got
line
it
of people
ready,
that would like to speak, that's absolutely fine. And I do have to put a time limit, because typically, if there's 3 or 4 people, I would just let them speak as long as they care to. Given today's topic and today's restrictions, it has to be limited. So it's going to be about a 2-minute speech that you're allowed to give. If you want to use less time and pass that on to the next person, that's fine as well. So as many people as we can hear from, the better. But I do want to ask everyone that when you hear someone make a comment and then you know that you're going to actually make the same comment, maybe that time would be better for someone who has a different comment or a different idea or a different thought. So just keep the ball rolling, and as long as we don't have any disruptions or any slowdowns whatsoever, we can begin this right now. And well,
Yeah,
I was
it's
just been
there.
told about putting your name on this board. I'm not.
Yeah,
so
there's
sure.
a little pad on paper right here.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind doing that, and then we have a record of who said what. Okay, thank you so much. But first of all, before you even do that, just to say your first name is always nice, because then we
Okay.
can, and we know who you are.
Sorry, one more. If you
whole
could speak
name.
into the microphone, but speak to the village council is helpful too. Thanks.
Okay.
And Village Council, I'd like just to ask you, because we have so many people here that want to speak with us today, that if and when we have questions, we can, at the end, take down notes, and maybe we could recall them and ask them more questions if we want. But if we have interruptions per speaker, we won't be able to hear from as many people. And we want to hear from as many as we can. But with that, please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Abigail Rowe. You may have seen my face around Brandon High School working in or being a patron of one of the businesses in town. I dance at Lynn's Dance Studio down the street. I've attended every event that this town has had for the past 3 years. You might have seen me on stage in the school musicals, plays, choir concerts, or most recently, you might have seen me in the news. Abigail's Pride gets its name from me. You may not be aware, but this time of year, Abigail's Pride always has interactions with the press. I've been the recipient of both positive and negative feedback, as well as a significant amount of online bullying. This is nothing new for me and my team. The reason that this impacts the Village Council so much this year is because of your initial denial of the 2024 Pride event permit. I feel as though this entire situation could have been avoided had the Village Council come to us prior to the February meeting and worked out any kinks with our event at that time. In the past, we've always been willing to work with local businesses, Oakland County Sheriff's Department, and our vendors to make the event successful and safe for the entire community. I would also like to point out that the businesses of Ortonville do not suffer because of this event. I have always been under the impression that all downtown events help to promote the businesses, as they bring in so much foot traffic that our town would never, ever see on a typical Saturday. The numbers and the letters of support that I've seen from businesses have confirmed that this is true, at least for my event. It's important to discuss the importance of this event to many LGBTQ youth. This event shows the LGBTQ youth in Ortonville that they are welcome and accepted here. It gives us a space to freely express who we are and show our love with no conditions. I know you may not think that we have a big enough LGBTQ plus population for this event, but I promise we do. LGBTQ youth suffer every day feeling like they're not welcome in our community. So as far as your comment about the businesses being open on June 1st being more important than our event, let me remind you that small town pride festivals, like Abigail's Pride, save lives. That far outweighs any negative impacts that 6 hours of road closure may have. Period. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Abigail.
Hello, my name is Tara Jackson. I am the owner of Impact North right here in the village and social media director for Abigail's Pride. I'm a mother, a wife, and surprise, I'm gay. At February's meeting, several council members included my business in a blanket statement, such as the businesses don't make money at this event or the businesses don't want the road closed. But my question is, did you call, text, email, or stop in on your way to the pub? Ken, you have stated that businesses need to have access to the roads, period. However, if that is your true belief, then how can you approve anything with a street closure? In addition, you have said that government entities have priority over private entities because of the promotion of the businesses during this time. As a business owner, I would like to see this promotion you speak of. As social media director for a private entity, I can tell you that for a fact, we promote all sponsors in supporting businesses. You referred to a picture at your media meeting from our event 2 years ago. This picture showed tents on the street, which is no different than any other event in town. If you notice, there are gaps left in between the tents. That is to accommodate businesses and storefronts for free, even if they don't sponsor. We brought in an additional vendor coordinator last year to ensure every business vendor receives spacing and attention they deserve during the meeting. Every year, Septemberfest blocks the stores if they do not pay for a space in front of their store. I am not against road closures. I am not against events. In fact, I wholeheartedly love events. However, I am against the Village Council discriminating against private entities. I am against the Village Council saying they care about the businesses, but then not speaking to the business owners. Last year, Abigail's Pride took place. I was open for 3.5 hours, where my sales were average $530 per hour. However, the beloved Septemberfest that you all rave about, I was open 15 hours, and my sales were average $113 per hour. I love and support all events that can drive awareness downtown. I do not live in Ortonville or even Brandon. I live 45 minutes away and drive here 6 days a week because I love the community. I support almost all organizations that come into my business. I give feedback to the DDA. I, with a co-director, created a winter market last year to promote winter shopping for businesses. When I first took over ownership back in 2020, I was told by a few members of this community, you should hide your relationship and tone down your gay. Well, as most people know, I did no such thing. I am proud of who I am. I am proud to show others who have been mistreated and misjudged that you don't have to be afraid to be yourself.
Tara, nor should you, but your time did expire.
Well, I was told 3 minutes
Well,
per Robert's rules.
well, there's no Robert's rules.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep going because this is public comment, so
Well-
I have the allotted time. Like you have your time, public comments have their time too.
Okay, and I can tell you,
After watching the behavior members of this council over the last month, it's gut-wrenching to know many people were afraid to come to this meeting. Kids are not safe at school. They don't feel safe on the street. Abigail Pride gives them their day to be safe. I wanted to make sure everybody know that you can have a voice and we will be heard.
thank you. Thank you. And again, those who care to go beyond the allotted time are going to be stopped. It's just the way it is. We can't run a business any other way or a council any other way. So please adhere to that, and please tell us your name, and please start with your comments.
If I do run over, Abigail's father, Mr. Rowe, has offered to give me his time, just so we're clear
There
on
you
that.
go. See?
Okay, wonderful. So good evening. My name is Marianne Sherrod, if you guys can hear me. I am the co-director of Abigail's Pride. I am a Brandon High School graduate, as you said in your media report the other day, sharing a bit about yourself. I am part of the LGBTQ community. I am a Christian, surprisingly, and I serve in my church. I'm a mother of 2 amazing children, and I am the wife of the first female full-time paramedic firefighter right here in Brandon Township. She is one of many LGBTQ to serve in a public service capacity here in Ortonville, and I'm so proud of her. I also have worked in the emergency services field here in Oakland County for over 20 years. I'm a paramedic. I have dispatched in my career for our police officers, firefighters, and medical services. My wife and I have served this community in many ways over the years, coaching, cheerleading, football, baseball, soccer, sitting on youth boards right here in Brandon Township in the village of Ortonville, teaching CPR classes to your coaches, to your teachers, to your students, and to your sports teams. I also taught Stop the Bleed courses to your high school students and teachers in case of a tragic emergency that they hopefully never have to endure. I teach first aid to all of your Girl Scout troops. I am dedicated to this community. I am a good human, Mr. Quisenberry, as you said about yourself as well. I am asking this board to hear me today and to choose to stand with me on the right side of history. I have learned in my career of public service that we all, as humans, have implicit, unconscious, and conscious biases. We all have them, and it is hard to look at that. I understand that. Implicit biases against LGBTQ people can come from growing up in an area where they are not accepted or seen. It can be from our families or religion. It happens when we are not around LGBTQ people to see and learn the true reality of our life. I am asking you to recognize that we all have these biases, and I'm hoping that you will listen and learn from me today how important your decision will be in saving the lives of LGBTQ youth. Mr. Quisenberry said law enforcement as a career is where you spend every day helping people. It's only for the sole purpose of helping the community and serving the community that you live in. So, Mr. Quisenberry and board, in 2022, a survey of 34,000 youth from ages 13 to 24, 45% of youth seriously considered suicide in the past year. 50% of those youths were the ages between 13 and 17. LGBTQ youth who felt high social support from their family and community reported attempting suicide less than half the rate of those who felt low or moderate support. 60%.
That's great. You mentioned
Okay.
you were going to pass your time on?
No, he is giving it to me.
He's giving it back to
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so 60% of the youth that needed mental health care were not able to get that. I asked this board to think about that to see if you are serving this community as well. You stated the street traffic is the sticking point with Abigail's Pride. You stated that we were misrepresenting you in our Facebook posts, which were not true. We have reiterated multiple times that you did state that it was due to the road closures. You stated that it was an option for Abigail's Pride to hold the event in the small park behind the businesses. However, in previous years, we have filled the streets and the park. That's just not possible. You did mention September Fest. The pig wrestling, you were 12 years old, it was 1972. This is a historic event. And you said historic in nature that you didn't need to go any further. So when did we decide that we are going to stop creating historic events for this community? It seems that you want us to understand now that closing down the town and streets for 3 days for historic pig wrestling, vendors, celebration of straight white men and their beer tents speaks louder than saving the lives of children. You stated that Abigail's Pride had so many vendors that it completely blocked all the storefronts. I would like to share a picture with you, the difference between Abigail's Pride and the September Fest. They are blocking the same amount of stores, but
And-
our stores had to pay for their
And I'm
storefronts.
really sorry, but your time has run
Would
out.
anyone else like to give me their time? Thank you,
It
I
doesn't-
appreciate
No,
it.
she cannot just have any time she wants.
Why not?
Why?
Because she can't. We have many people. Hold on. We have many people here that want to talk. We have many, okay. Okay, we have many people here that are going to talk.
Okay.
But where, in that conference, did you hear that September Fest was for straight white men?
I would like to reclaim my time,
Hey,
sir.
I
would like to
gonna ask
reclaim
you
my
that
time.
straight up.
Okay, and I would like to answer that as soon as we're done, absolutely, but I would like to reclaim my time. Okay.
Your time has started, but it's over.
Okay. Okay. So,
We'll do 2 minutes
okay.
for her. Here we go.
Don't get me wrong,
will
we
eat up
love all
everybody's
of these
time, but
events.
go right ahead.
That's fine. Don't get me wrong, we too love all of these events and we fully support them. We too understand that the businesses here in the state of Michigan and Ortonville are fragile. But you have received letters from many of these businesses and you said to the reporter this: you are not going to talk to the businesses because what they say to you is slanted. You don't care what the letters say from the business owners that typed them out and signed their names to them because they are also slanted. So these businesses have taken the time to speak to our organization, to local reporters, to the public, but you don't believe them. They have taken time to write out letters and sign them, their own written approval, but you don't believe them. Do you see how our community is hurting? Do you understand now why our organization is under the impression that we have so much support and outpouring of love from this community, but our board president is choosing to disregard the business support of our event? In closing, I want to remind this board, nothing will change if nothing changes. Please decide to stand on the right side of history. Please decide to highlight and celebrate safe families like mine. Show our youth and community that they are safe to live here. Bring diversity into light in this community so we can all thrive together. You are better than this. We are better than this. Changing lives matters, and I do believe in your hearts that you feel it too.
Hello.
My name is Jennifer Bador, and I'm a resident of Brandon Township.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your first name?
Sorry, Jennifer Bador.
Okay, Jennifer.
All right, I believe that the downtown area should be a gathering place for everyone from the village, the village of Ortonville, townships of Brandon and Groveland, and surrounding areas. Downtown should bring people together. It should be a place where you go to eat, shop, see friends, neighbors, family. The downtown, if it becomes a place that's divided, then we'll begin to see a decline in people coming downtown, and it will ultimately hurt the businesses. So I read in the newspaper and somewhere online that it's posted where the downtown businesses who had to choose like whether they were neutral or in favor of this issue. And my concern is, have we not seen this played out on a larger level? So when businesses start to make political statements or take sides on hot button issues, they end up alienating part of their customer base. So many larger businesses Many larger businesses have taken sides, and it's ultimately led to their decline. So whether or not the business agrees with this event doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is if the customers who are planning on shopping downtown that day will still come and still shop, or worse, if the businesses will lose part of their customer base because they've taken a different position than their customers do. So I do not think that it's a wise decision to allow any event to take place that does not bring the entire community together. Not to mention, it does not seem fair to allow pop-up vendors to be allowed to compete with small brick-and-mortar businesses. The current downtown businesses are here for the long run. They're paying property taxes, they're living nearby, hiring local residents to work in their businesses. As far as I'm aware, the pop-up vendor doesn't pay anything to Ortonville, and could be directly competing with the local businesses. And this is not the first time that the downtown has had a controversial event. So my husband and I grew up in a nearby city, and we've moved away and recently moved back. And so before Abigail's Pride Parade, there was also a political parade that occurred downtown. So this is an election year, and the last thing that I want to see is a calendar of events that has a schedule with various political parades to be held downtown that will further divide the community. I think we need to go back to bringing the entire community together. Currently, the DDA and other various government organizations are doing a fabulous job creating events for the whole community to attend. I'm looking forward to the spring garden market and the farmers market, and I'm not here to hurt anyone's feelings. There's plenty of spots. I'm hoping that we can, as a community, come together and figure out a solution. I really, truly hope the best for Abigail. Honestly, this is awesome. How many other kids in high school can say that you started your own not-for-profit? It's pretty incredible. I just have a heart for business and for our downtown, and so I just...
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Hello, my name is Liz. I'm coming at you today with a unique perspective. I have sat where you sit. I do not envy your position tonight. I made the hard choices. I sat there while people yelled at us. I sat at the high school while people yelled at us about sewers. I did all of it. I do not envy where you're sitting tonight. So thank you for being here. But I would like to say that I have been a business owner in downtown for the last year. I'm a mother of 4 students in the school district. I'm the area representative for 15 foreign exchange students at Brandon High School. I run Ortonville Strong, Ortonville Dog Rescue. I'm on the board of 2 nonprofits, and I'm also a third-year sponsor of this event, and I want to say I'm here to support Abigail's Pride. Last week, during the press conference, I'm going to skip through some of this because some of it was said. Like you said, I'm not going to repeat it. There were things said about the sales of businesses in downtown Ortonville on Saturdays. I will say that during Abigail's Pride, I have my documentation with me. My sales were 466% higher on Abigail's Pride than any given Saturday the entire year, including Christmas in the Village, Septemberfest. The only one that beat it was Witches Night Out because I did a specific event at my store. Abigail's Pride made my bills for that month. And as many of you know, I've actually already closed. I was one of those businesses that was open for 9 months. I could not survive down here because, as many of you know, it's a ghost town. So if we can bring all of these people to an event downtown, whether we agree with it or not, you have to put those things aside and vote for what is positive for the village. If we have members on this board that are sitting there and they are members of also our DDA board, I am a business that says I brought in 466% more business that day. Without that event, I would have closed 3 months sooner. And it killed me to close when I did, but it was one of those things that I had to swallow my pride. It just was not feasible in downtown. Had we had more events, I would have been able to stay open. Had we had more people like Abigail, I would have been able to stay open. The core of our DDA is to create events and bring commerce to our town. If you have letters from businesses, you should listen to them. They are signed from the business owners, such as myself.
Liz, we're right at the wrap-up point.
Okay. I would like to say in the end, no matter how this ends, Abigail, I am so proud of you. You speak your truth when others feel to make you less than. And to the board, this is an election year. Is this how you want your elected legacy to end? Please put your personal beliefs aside and be on the right side of history.
My name is Faye Bindig. I am
Okay.
a lifelong resident of Ortonville, and I'm also a village resident. In your February meeting, you denied the permit for Abigail's Pride Festival. Most of the council had an issue with the streets being closed, but then the council approved 2 permits that also closed the streets. And I understand that you have mentioned that that's because that is a municipally run, those 2 are municipally run, and Abigail's is not. However, at Septemberfest, there's a 5K run that the streets are partially closed, and that is not run by the municipality either. That is a private 501(c), the same as Abigail's Pride, run event. It's my opinion, and I'm stating my opinion just as a resident, not as any business or anything else I may represent, that Abigail's Pride Festival permit was not approved due to the fact that it is an LGBTQ event, not because the roads would be closed. The state of Michigan states, and this was dated August 1985, shall not discriminate because of race, color, sex, age, handicap, religion, ancestry, marital status, national origin, place of birth, or sexual orientation, in accordance with the prohibition of discrimination in the state context. The federal government in 1964, in accordance with the federal civil rights, shall not discriminate based upon race, color, creed, national origin, sex, age, disability, weight, height, familial status, marital status, or sexual orientation. If the federal government in 1964 and the state of Michigan in 1985 can realize that these people, this group has the same rights and they should have the same rights, then I think you need to really sit back and think about it and vote yes.
Thanks, Faye.
Thank you.
They can and do, but thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Menard. I'm here talking to you as a neighbor. Hi, Larry, you're my neighbor. Melanie and Kay, you walk past my house every day on Mill Street. I'm that big house with the big rainbow flag. And can I tell you the amount of drama that I've received since I put that flag up? So yes, it is grown white men in diesel trucks throwing beer cans at me and spitting at me and telling me I'm a faggot while they drive by my house. So I have a personal problem that this town needs to learn acceptance. It's daily harassment that I deal with just because I have a flag outside that's a rainbow flag. Every weekend in the summer, I have a new beer can on my front driveway, and I'm sure Kay and Melanie can attest to that as they walk past my house every day. I mean, this town needs to learn acceptance, and that's honestly, the woman in front of me said half the things I was going to say, so I'm going to keep it at that. But I did send you all a video of the 8-year-old children who decided to stop at my door a few weeks ago and tell me gay is bad for America. So it's not just grown men. It's not just guys in diesel trucks. Now it's children. And I have a 12-year-old daughter at my house. So now she's not sure, are they coming making fun of her? Are they making fun of me? But this town in general just needs to learn some acceptance. And I think by banning this just because of a road closure, you're causing more issues with people who have the LGBT. I'm sorry, I'm very flustered right now, but you're affecting more than just road closures with this. This is a community that needs to learn to wake up. And so, like I said, as your neighbor, I hope you guys can see the amount of harassment I've dealt with. It would just be nice if we could be celebrated, because if you put this to vote as no, it's just going to help fuel the people who sit there and harass me every single weekend. And yes, they leave the pub drinking and driving past the police station. So I have a lot of frustrations with this town, but I just want to say, learn acceptance as a neighbor, okay?
Well, Rachel, nobody appreciates it.
Hello, my name is Brian. I'm a 23-year village resident, Brandon Township for 53 years. So I wanted to come here. I did support this parade last year. If you look at your Venmo June 1st, you'll see one from me. So my questions are, I've watched every meeting, read everything that I could find, and it keeps on coming down to road closures and the loss of business, and the town is fragile. I've lived here all my life, so I really know how fragile it is because I've seen lots of businesses. However, I am a guy that drives my dogs around the village like multiple times per day. You probably hear them barking out a window if you live in the village, possibly. And I can tell you, I've really studied the last few Saturdays. There's not many people shopping downtown. And if we were going to make the statement, we're closing them to protect our businesses, and you've talked to the businesses, what is the dollar amount? What is the dollar amount they lost last year during this parade? Someone has to have that number because every business owner keeps track of what they do in sales. So that is a poor choice, in my opinion, to say that is the reason, unless someone on this council can provide us a financial value. I thought maybe, that's a big deal, closing down roads for businesses. What about law enforcement? You have to pay them, right? They probably need an extra officer or two just to monitor things. And it's a great event. I was there last year. Very peaceful, happy, no problems. But you still have to have law enforcement there and ready. But that was never mentioned. It was never mentioned once in any of your guys' arguments. How do we finance the extra law enforcement? Why? So we don't have to, I guess. So that's free then. Because if it wasn't, I will pay for the law enforcement for this year's parade if that's the reason. And if there's a business downtown that can provide statements of how many dollars they've lost, send them to me. I will reimburse them the difference in lost sales for those hours of that parade. And I got my checkbook in my back pocket.
Hi there, my name's Nathan Beltramo. I'm sure that
Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan.
Okay, got it.
I'm sure that my last name rings bells for at least a few people in this room. My grandpa was the treasurer quite a while ago, used to run the cemetery. Family's been around for quite a while. And I've watched this town for a long time. It is a slow town. I like it though. I like Septemberfest. I love going to it with my grandma, who's here today. Because we want to support this town. And I saw an article sitting on my counter last night getting home, and it made me mad because it's 500 feet. No one said it yet, but it's 500 feet of road. Now, if I want to go into town and get a piece of pizza, I'll park at the post office, which is a little more than 600 feet away from the pizza place. So I don't see how 500 feet is really making a real difference in any sales. And I don't like being mean. I don't like being accusatory. So I want to ask to the council specifically, are we failing this community by doing this? And what is the goal in denying this event that is, from what I've heard over and over again, it's gay Septemberfest. I love Septemberfest. Make it gay, I want to go to it. So, yeah, that's about it. Because I've heard road closure, but I haven't heard 500 feet yet. I looked at the maps today, and it was about 500 feet that I measured. And if it's 521 or something like that, I'm sorry, my math is bad. But I'd like to see a gay Septemberfest.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Shamoon. Again, my name is Brandon. I represent the LGBT Commission for the state of Michigan. I am the vice chair of the commission. Earlier today, we sent an email over to Abigail and to the village manager, Mr. Ryan Mattis. I'm here to read the letter. I also have copies if you'd like it. Dear Ortonville Village Manager and Village Council, the Michigan LGBTQ+ Chamber is writing to express our sincere support for Abigail's Pride and their annual Pride Festival in Ortonville. We find it disheartening to learn of the Village Council's decision to deny the permit for this important event, especially considering its profound significance to the LGBTQ+ community and the positive economic impact it has brought to the town in previous years. Under the dedicated leadership of Abigail Rowe, Abigail's Pride has tirelessly worked to cultivate a safe, inclusive space for individuals of all ages, particularly youth, within the LGBTQ+ community. The festival serves not only as a celebration of diversity, but also as a beacon of acceptance and belonging for everyone in Ortonville. The festival has undeniably become an integral part of the community fabric, fostering unity and promoting understanding and respect amongst its residents. The vibrant display of rainbow colors and open expressions of identities at the festival speaks volumes about the profound impact of such events in fostering a more inclusive society. While we acknowledge the valid concern raised by the Village Council regarding safety, road closures, and local business impact, as I've heard from others in the room as well, it's imperative to note that Abigail's Pride has a commendable track record of organizing successful and well-managed events. Furthermore, the denial of the permit appears disproportionate, especially when compared to other approval of similar events with longer road closures in the town. The Michigan LGBTQ+ Commission urges the Village Council, you all here today, to reconsider its decision and collaborate with Abigail's Pride to address any concerns or logistical challenges. By supporting the Pride Festival, Ortonville has a unique opportunity to demonstrate its unwavering commitment to diversity, equity, and the well-being of all its residents. I'm going to repeat that again. To demonstrate its unwavering commitment to diversity, equity, and the well-being of all of its residents.
Okay, Brandon.
We, the
that's,
LGBT Commission,
Brandon,
stand firmly.
Pardon me, Brandon.
Yes.
Thank you, and you did get that letter for us?
Yes.
If you would leave us with a copy of it,
I have
that would be
copies here
great.
for you.
And
I have
then
one
we
more
can-
sentence to read to finish.
Go
this
right
off.
ahead with the one more sentence.
Yep. We, the LGBT Commission, stand firmly with Abigail's Pride and the LGBT community in Ortonville, and we fervently hope that together we can ensure the continued success and prosperity of the Pride Festival for many years to come.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rich Schneider. Please hold any jeering until I'm done.
Please what?
Hold any jeering.
Any jeering until I'm done.
Okay. Good to know.
Some of the same folk that were making us mask up for a virus may actually be under the influence of a tiny parasite like Toxoplasma gondii. That could be why drugs like hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and quercetin have been so demonized in the media. What I'm being told and what I've read online is this may actually cause things such as homosexuality. Now, if this is true, then we're inviting folks with a transmissible medical condition into our community. There are some folks that I'm sure have absolutely no problem putting restrictions on other people regarding transmissible diseases, as we've seen in the past 2-3 years. This may sound bigoted, sexist, homophobic, blah, blah, blah. However, this is what people without care to the health of others may say. I'm going to point out that if I didn't care about people having this event, well, then maybe I wouldn't say anything and I would just stay at home. But if they're under an influence from a parasite and some of these drugs may actually help them, then I've got to say what I've got to say. So that's all it.
Thank you, Rich.
Let us know when you find Sasquatch. You want to go over here?
Well, that was something. Hi, my name is Joey Colby. I am the Graduate Research Assistant for the Oakland University Gender and Sexuality Center. I've actually brought a couple students with me. My students are very shy. I want to tell you how proud I am of you, Abigail, and all the hard work you've done. My students for the Gender and Sexuality Alliance come to your parade every year, and they table, and it is amazing for them. And it is something that, I have a lot of students that come from rural areas. Let me tell you about myself for a second. I'm a clinical social worker. I work with students that are usually dealing with some sort of, probably most of my students are depressed, upset. Being trans, being gay, being who you are is hard in this world. And I don't think you're intentionally trying to make it harder. I just think that what you're doing it for the wrong reasons. My students come here and they have a great time. They come from places where they do not have pride parades. They come from places like Alpena. And I'm telling you, I understand that you've got your convictions. And I accept that. I voted for Trump in 2016. It took me a long time to realize who I am. And I fought that with every fiber of my being. And while I vehemently disagree with you on possibly, denying this event, I brought you a pride flag to give to you. Because we are going to, no matter what you do, I'm going to accept you as you are. Because you might not accept me, you might not accept my community, but I'm going to accept you. Because I'm going to kill you with kindness. I'm going to make you understand that I'm going to love you and accept you. Because I believe that you deserve that. Just as my community does. And I lead by example. So I just want to tell you, that's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to thank you for the time to speak, and I wanted to present you with this flag, Mr. President of the Board of Trustees.
I accept it with honor and grace, and thank you for this gift. I really do.
This is weird. I've never been here before. Well, I've been here once before. My name's Ryan Kowalski. I've been here a resident for about 8 years. I also grew up here until I was like 8 or 10 years old. There's a lot of craziness going on in the news, social media, everything else. It's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. The gentleman who was just here can attest to that. It's uncomfortable for people on both sides of whatever political nonsense is going on right now. The thing that brought me back to this town when I grew up was this is a place where community members can get together and be a community. And we had a gentlelady here earlier that said something very incredibly smart. It's we shouldn't be doing things that are extremely divisive. If we have people that they believe strongly in one direction and another group believes strongly in another direction, we shouldn't try to put something together that brings those two to a head. That's not who we are as a community. There should be that other person who was just here like 3 people ago complaining about people throwing shit at her house. That's completely unacceptable. And that isn't who we are and isn't who we should strive to be. And we should be acceptance. The last guy saying that, he's going to kill everybody with kindness. Don't kill people. But I love the message of being kind to everybody. But a lot of people come to this town to escape all the craziness. A lot of people come to this town to not have politically divisive stuff thrown in their face and more or less to be left alone and to let others be left alone. If you feel a certain way, we should all respect that. And if you want to be a certain person, we should accept that as well. There should be no bigotry. There should be no bullshit. But we also need to respect each other and not force each other's stuff on other people. I yield the rest of my time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Sure this is high enough here. My name's Jason Sheldon. I live in the community. I've been a teacher in the Brandon School District for 20 years. I've coached for 18 of those years. I have three sons who attend the schools here. And as I thought about what I wanted to say at this meeting tonight, I thought about the word pride. And what this event has meant to the community, to the kids that I teach, to the kids I see every day. First, I want to say I'm very proud of Abigail, a student of mine in my history class who was passionate and is all heart and went out as a 15-year-old. When most kids are playing video games and on TikTok, went out as a 15-year-old and started an organization to look after others, to represent others, to make her community a kinder, better, and more inclusive place. And that's what Abigail's Pride is all about. I was so proud of this community coming down to this event the last 2 years in divisive times. I was so proud that this is not just a nice, cute, quaint town, but also a friendly, caring, inclusive, and safe community. I was proud to see the faces of my students, my former students, the community members, that I don't know if they're gay, straight, or anything else, feel safe and comfortable and loved by their community. That is very important, and the council should understand that importance. I'm thankful and I take pride in the local businesses who support this event. And I read through all of those letters, including the ones who had reservations at first, but no longer do. I read the proposal B, where Hamilton's can still have its driveway open. I know, living here, that we have more foot traffic when there's an event. I know that this brings business downtown. To claim that a 6-hour event threatens the viability of our businesses and that businesses are going to close because of one event is laughable if any of this were funny. I ask the council to take the compromise they seek, accept the proposal B, bring pride back to this community, not only in this event, but for all those kids that I see every day in the school district who don't have a safe place and are bullied and uncomfortable in their day-to-day existence, because this world can be a real mean place. And seeing those kids out there, I don't know if you went to that event, but seeing those kids out there feeling comfortable with who they are is priceless. And most of the businesses in this community agree. So I hope you'll listen to our voices, our kids, and our community, and hold this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Francie.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Schwartz. I'm a resident of Brandon Township for 8 years now, along with my family. And as an ally, I'd like to voice my support in favor of the Abigail's Pride event. We've already been through the business aspect of this, I think, at length. I don't want to go through it again, but I will say that I looked in the packet before this meeting, and I saw over 50 pages of letters of support, many of which were from businesses, many of which were from residents, some of which were even from people outside the state. And I think what's important to me is that this is an opportunity for Ortonville to be known. The media coverage around this extends well beyond Brandon Township, well beyond Oakland County. This is being picked up by CBS News. I mean, it's national news. It's easy for somebody in another state to look at their phone and see what's going on here in Ortonville. This is, for many people, their first introduction to Ortonville. And this is an opportunity for the Village Council to make it a good introduction. Right now, I think people are seeing that the council is opposed to this festival and is clamping down on it, clamping down on an opportunity to open up the community and to be welcoming to our youth. And so let's try and turn that around. There's an opportunity here to make a positive first impression of Ortonville as a community that is welcoming and safe for everyone. This festival gives people a reason to experience Ortonville for themselves and to keep coming back and to spend their money here if that's something that's important to you. In closing, I just want to say that I think Ortonville is very much a community. The word community comes from the Latin word communis, meaning common, and I like to think of that in the sense of doing things together with one another. This Abigail's Pride Festival is a community event. It's an opportunity for us to grow our community, the village of Ortonville, by offering nothing more than kindness toward one another. Let's approve this festival so that everyone may feel valued, welcomed, and safe here in the community that we call home. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. Just for everybody's timekeeping purposes, you, sir, are next up for sure. We got about 8 minutes total, so we're going to have to make sure we.
Well, then I'll keep it brief.
You can.
My name is Jason Galt. I'm a local business.
He's good.
Thanks. It's just so I get everybody's names
No, it's
correct.
good. It's good.
Then I'll start in 2 minutes. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll keep it brief. My name is Jason Galt. I'm a graduate of Brandon High School. I'm a local business owner and a member of this community for almost 40 years. I am here as an ally to support this community. This is not my story. This is their story. I have a voice, I have a platform, and I have a responsibility to ensure that everybody has the same access to that platform. So I will cede the rest of my time to this wonderful girl and her team and her supporters, and thank you for all you've done.
I got 30 seconds?
You got
Okay.
Minute and 30.
Craig Doherty, and I'm part of Brandon Township. Actually, I'm coming up here to speak today simply for the voices who are not here today, because a lot of them they get attacked in the media if they show up to events like this and speak. So I'm going to give a few points just from their perspective. For one thing, a lot of the people that I've talked to understand the safety and understand the road closure, and they appreciate that. They understand only co-sponsored events in this particular village have the road closures. They understand that. The other thing is the businesses. Quite frankly, the businesses are put in a really bad situation when they're confronted and asked to make a public opinion. And once again, pressure from the community and national media, not just local media, forces them to take a stand that they normally wouldn't. Thirdly, the park was offered. I tried to get something here in this village. I couldn't. They offered the park. It was a fantastic opportunity. Don't have to close the roads. Great alternative. Fourthly, I know people, some people in this room, some people elsewhere, that are getting bullied by this organization's people who follow these people, and yet this is the same organization that wants to get away from bullying. So it's very counterproductive that way. I'm also from Brandon Township, so what I see here is just like with the marijuana situation that encountered our communities, outside interests, outside money have come and influenced the decisions. Unhealthy. Very unhealthy. And I'll just make one last comment. I'm from the business world. I've seen DEI. I've seen ESG. I've seen it destroying companies. And I see companies backing out of it. Why? Because it is not diversity and inclusiveness. It is separating people and putting walls up. And we've got to be very careful about that. And that's all I've got to say.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Thank
much.
you. That's Barry, right?
Craig. Craig.
Okay.
Yeah, Doherty. Yes,
Doherty.
Doherty.
Got it.
Still at the
Okay. I'm sorry, we have.
My name is, there's no pen.
Oh, he took the pen too.
My name is Jessica Toutant. I wasn't planning on being here tonight, but I got out of work and my car drove here, and so there must be a reason that somehow there's a microphone in front of me. So I pray that God speaks through my words and touches the people who need to hear it, because God loves everyone, no matter what. And this is a very important community. I've lived here since I was 11 years old. So I went to the very first, I was the very first graduating class out of the brand new middle school. I had two moms when I was growing up. And in 1997, when I was 12 years old, it wasn't cool It wasn't hip. It wasn't fancy. We didn't have meetings talking about how it's okay. And I suffered, and I suffered in my community over and over and over again because of love, right? Because of love. And I grew up with amazing, fabulous mothers who taught me that we fall in love with people, not bodies. And I cannot understand what is so hard about that. Like, why is that so hard to understand? This community was a very difficult place for me to grow up in. And as I've gotten older and as I've chosen to stay here and raise my now 13-year-old daughter, who is at the same middle school, graduating this year, I chose to stay here because I thought that we were getting better. I chose to stay here and live here because I thought that we can grow with the times, that we can bring harmony to our town, right? Like, there's absolutely no reason for anybody to feel like they don't belong here. We've already done that. That's old news. And you can go ahead and say that you want to block it for whatever reason you want. It's still going to happen. Maybe not until next year or the year after. But you can go ahead and stand in your old ways all you want. But this is going to happen. This love is always going to win. And I am so grateful and proud that Abigail is the voice of a generation and is breaking those chains and is bringing new and wonderful love to our town. And I want to be here to support her and tell you that this is an amazing event and there's no reason why we shouldn't have it in our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. You're probably going to be the last one today.
That's fine. My name is Jebediah Calhoun. I'm 18
I'm sorry,
years.
what's your first name?
Jebediah Calhoun.
Okay.
I'm 18 years old. I do not live in Brandon, but I had the pleasure of going to school here my entire career. And I would like to say that I faced, as a gay person, discrimination and threats almost once a month at least. I know my sister is currently online school because she gets death threats. She gets rape threats almost every day, every week. And I know that every other queer person in that school is probably going through the same thing or worse, and they might be going to a home that's worse. I want you to understand that there are people in this community that do not have a space to be themselves. They do not have a space to feel loved. They are going to school and they are facing bullying constantly, and they're going home and they have to pretend to be someone else, or they're getting abused by their parents and they're not allowed to be who they are. If you take away this Pride Festival, you are potentially taking away the one day that they have to be themselves. Doing that is dangerous and can lead to death. I have been in performances with people who are no longer with us at school. People die every day. People kill themselves because of this. Abby is told almost regularly how much she saves lives. I want you guys to think about that. You're saving lives, changing lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We started about 5 minutes late, so if anybody else wants to come on up for a couple of minutes, they're welcome to. I want to give the full hour to hearing the voices of the community.
You know, I can understand the being ostracized.
Just got to catch your name
Yeah,
first.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Dan.
I can understand, you know, the feeling of being ostracized. When I came back from Vietnam in 1970, they called us everything from baby killers to you name it. Took 20 years for people to kind of come through that, right? But we don't need to drill holes in the foundation of America for agendas. Okay? There's one event, and I'm thinking about the discussion here about the park, you know, the road closures and so forth. The most famous event that was put together in 1969 was called Woodstock. And it was put together on private property on a farm. And I don't think any of these people have even thought that about that, because they're being handled and managed to go into these communities to advertise this agenda, okay? I have nothing personal against any of these folks, but it is an agenda, and it's gonna come out before the year is out. We're gonna see a lot of things, that a lot of truths are gonna be coming out, okay? So what I would recommend to this group this year, you might approve it next year. By the way, I want to thank you for your time and your service here, but think about private property. You might bring 10, 15,000 people to a farm. You had over a couple 100,000 at Woodstock. So I think you're thinking, go big or go home is my opinion on this. Forget these road closures and law enforcement having to be paid to monitor the situation. There's private property. There's people that would more than happy to give you a space where you can do what you want to do there. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, that concludes the public speaking portion of the meeting. One more?
Okay, last one.
You do.
Okay.
You do.
Run out of paper, though.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Caleb Twing.
I'm sorry?
Caleb Twing.
Caleb?
C-A-L-E-B. I did not plan to speak today. So apologies if I stutter a little bit. First of all, I would like to thank you all for paying attention to our words. I know every single one of these people has appreciated how much you've paid attention. I expected a lot of people here to get bored. It looks like everyone's paying attention, so I really appreciate that. I would like to tell you all a story. So I did not attend the first Pride event. It was a really hard time in my life, and, vacation, couldn't go. But when I attended the second one, I met this young boy named Max. Max is transgender. He, him pronouns, if you care. Apologies. And Max told me about how much that event helped him and how much Abby meant to him. And I know that every single year there's other kids like Max who need something like this. And for the love of God, please don't take that away from them. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Once again, that does conclude the public comment portion of this meeting. It was extremely informative, and I'm glad that a lot of people got a chance to come up to the microphone and speak to the council. But we have to move on with our agenda at this point. And I scribbled on my agenda, so I don't even know where it is anymore.
Items from trustees, I believe.
Yeah. Items from trustees. I can start down with you, Tony, if you have anything you want to report to the board.
Yep. Okay, so the IT committee, which I'm on now, we met for about an hour meeting. Larry, I want to thank you for taking the time out to bring me up to speed on what has been going on for the last couple of years. One of the things that we did discuss at that point was making the forms that are online more fillable version, such as filling in PDF files. I'm pretty sure we all agreed that it would be much better for the citizens that fill them out, plus legibility when we receive them. Rocking and Raking is going to be happening April 27th from 9 to 4. There's some paperwork that if you want to volunteer, you can pick it up at the village offices, and if you know somebody that could use the assistance, there's some paperwork there that you can get as well. I want to thank the people that took time out of their busy days and wrote letters in favor of Abigail's Pride event. I always feel that when people take time to put pen to paper and express their feelings, it means more than just a passing discussion on the street. Finally, I would like to thank Abigail's Pride organization for taking the time to resubmit not one, but 2 events forms. The final thing I'd like to say, I was unable to attend a meeting March 20th, 2024, between the hours of 10 and 11, not only due to a short notice that I was given, but also what I consider to be a very problematic time for myself and other residents that work during these hours. I suggest that in future meetings of this nature be more planned out and scheduled in a manner that will not only benefit non-working and retired residents to attend, but also those residents that work during the day. That's all I got to say.
Ms. Kay Green.
The only thing I would want to talk about is we need to set up a personnel committee this week if possible, next, if that does not work for everybody.
This week?
This week or next?
Yeah, Thursday,
Okay.
Friday's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
Melanie Nivelt.
The Planning Commission, we're going to be going over all that.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on.
So I'm not going to bore you, but that's what we've been working on. And then I do have something to say, but I'm going to wait till after we go to our unfinished business at
Okay,
that time.
perfect.
Thank you.
Larry Hayden.
Okay. Yes, we have not had a Streets Committee meeting, but I have had some discussion with Ryan about what we want to look at the next meeting, and part of that topic relates to the Oakwood sidewalk funding and possible reallocation, which will be covered later.
Mhm.
I also did attend the SEMCOG General Assembly, and I have a few updates related to SEMCOG. First of all, the executive director of SEMCOG testified in the House of Transportation Infrastructure, and she was advocating changes in how the current transportation funding for projects is being done in order to make allow greater flexibility for regional groups like SEMCOG to be able to better distribute that funds to more communities to help them out.
More communities like ours?
More communities like ours. There's certain restrictions right now that they're limited by certain requirements for what communities can get this aid, and they're looking to change that to make it so that they can distribute it more broadly to communities for a greater number of projects related to those projects.
Okay. In general, SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, does the money flow from them to the county, then to local districts, or straight from them to local
It
districts?
actually comes from the federal down to SEMCOG that then distributes it within the region. And they do work with state as well as federal for funding sources and distribution of the money.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, they're a great resource.
I belonged to them for 25 years. Linda.
Wait, I wasn't
Oh,
finished.
I'm sorry. I thought the
I was
SEMCOG thing
starting
was,
that
that
with
was,
SEMCOG.
okay.
That was one SEMCOG.
You were transitioning from SEMCOG into something
No,
else.
I was just mentioning
Warming
about the SEMCOG executive director testified at Congress. I also attended the General Assembly. They had a really good presentation on emerging technologies. They talked about exploring AI applications in local governments, planning and implementing drones and advanced mobility, and an introduction to big data and its uses. And I think there's some interesting points from there that I want to share with Ryan later related to the AI and local governments as it pertains to how our staff may unknowingly be using applications online that could have this AI technology in there. There's also was information provided about an Axe My Tax proposal. This proposal is not good for local communities. It basically will eliminate a lot of the revenues for local communities that can be used for essential services. So this is not a good proposal, and they provided some talking points and discussion points around the Axe My Tax. There's also a very what I think is going to be a very good upcoming webinar, Rethinking Budgeting, Strategies and Case Studies from the Front Lines. And if anybody on the council is interested in attending that webinar, I've already signed up for it. We can share that link to the rest of council members if you're interested in attending that as well.
What is the date on that?
That is April 17th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., and it's via a Zoom meeting. And those are my SEMCOG updates.
Well, thank you so much for those. With that, I'll get on to Linda Brooks.
I just want to say that I did attend the meeting on Septemberfest to find out where we are starting with that, and it was good discussion. DDA does provide for our businesses for the space in front of theirs, which is something I did not know. It is part of what they do. We also talked about tweaking it a little bit because of some of the things we heard due to this other permit. So I think it's good that we're getting some new information, and
Well, it
September.
wasn't new. DDA knew about it
No,
last
no,
year.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
new information from, that we're changing, that we're talking about things, and things are being clarified, I guess is what I want to say. But I do think that Septemberfest is something that has been a part of this community for many, many years, and it is tweaked every year. We no longer do pig wrestling, and we no longer have the cow on the football field. But, you know, it is something that is very fluid, and we do change it from time to time. And I think there were some things that came up that, you know, make us think about some new things. I also want to say that I will be attending the Parks and Rec Master Plan meeting coming up on April 3rd, where we're rewriting the master plan, which will make it possible for us to be able to get grants for some of the parks in our village.
Okay, thank you very much. That takes care of the items from trustees. It brings us up to item number 10, which probably brings most of us here. It's unfinished business. It's the special event permit for Abigail's Pride. We did have some information on that in our packet, as well as some information that was provided to me at the start of our meeting via discussions today with the village attorney. And he recommends 3 possible motions, and I would entertain any one of the 3.
I make a motion per the lawyer. Resolution to approve the special event application. I move to approve the special event application for Abigail's Pride because it is not detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the village or its inhabitants.
Which one?
1.
Number one.
No, I mean, which plan, number 1 or number 2?
Well,
Which
I would
option
stick
in the
with
permits?
number 2 because that is, we did get a letter asking not to block the driveway.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported, and I would assume in terms of discussion, it's been, dead horses have been beaten more than this one.
I'd like to make a comment.
You may.
I don't know if we were going to go down the line or
Just,
anything.
if you have a comment, make one.
Okay. My comment here is I am new to the village, and I will say that when we first were presented with this and we saw, and we did mention the businesses, but I do know that I remember coming to a meeting after the event last year and Lieutenant Glover speaking to us about safety issues. There were a lot of extra costs that were incurred that we found out that we had to redo our policy because we found out that whenever extra costs are incurred, we never go back to the person having the event. We just absorb them. And we decided that was not something we should do. And again, probably because a lot of them are intergovernmental, where it's the township and the village, and we just kind of work that out. So that was one of the reasons that I initially, did say, and I did not know it was going to turn into this. I just want to say that to me, this is an event that was brought to us by a Brandon High School student, supported by her mother, and it's unfortunate that it has become highly politicized, that people have been bullied, that I appreciate all your comments, but it has never, ever had anything to do whether this is a great cause or a great community. That was not at all what I was thinking a month ago, and in some ways I'm sad that that's what it's become, because I don't think Ortonville should be judged on whether we support this community or not based on how we vote on this permit.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion, support.
Larry, and then I want to say something.
Okay, then we'll just go around the table for comments.
Yeah, I have a statement I'd like to make. Regarding Abigail's Pride Parade, I was at the first 2 events working as a Brandon Community Emergency Response Team volunteer. Part of the reason I did that is because I do feel strongly that everybody has the right to gather peaceably and express their views. However, at both events, I directly observed safety issues due to poor planning and coordination of the street closures by the event organizers. Last year, I was coordinating on behalf of the CERT team between the event organizers and our CERT team, because our president was out and as secretary, I worked with the vice president to coordinate events. The organizer of this event asked CERT last year if they could close the streets earlier than the time that was listed in the permit. This was after the permit was already approved. I informed the organizer that CERT has no authority to deviate from the approved permit. I also recommended that the permit could have been resubmitted for this change, and there was time to have it approved before the event. Last year, the event organizer chose not to resubmit the request. As a result of that, there was a serious safety issue when the vendors were setting up in the streets while the streets were still open to traffic. Our DPW supervisor was forced to close the streets for safety reasons before the approved time, which was a breach of the permit that was approved. At the last council meeting in February, we did not approve the event permit due to concerns about the requested street closure. The organizer was informed, as Ken also had said publicly, that they could resubmit the permit with changes to address our concerns. The permit submitted for review for this meeting does not, in my mind, contain any substantial changes to address our concerns. I'm also deeply disappointed that the event founder and organizers seem unwilling to work with us to come to an agreeable compromise to hold the event in the village. Instead, many of the letters that were included in support of the event included derogatory statements against us as a council and our community. In addition, the event founder seemed that it was necessary to send a letter to our local newspaper that included defamatory statements directed at all council members. She does not know me, she does not know my convictions, and for her to make statements that just blanket accused us of certain things was just, in my mind, inappropriate. In my mind, these are not the actions of a group that wants to work with us to find an agreeable solution. From my observations at the previous two events, as a CERT volunteer, this event could easily be held in Crossman Park and accommodate the vendors and activities without the need to close the streets. The impact of closing streets goes beyond just the impact to the downtown businesses. It also inconveniences all of our residents. Based on this consideration and the unprofessional attack on our community leaders by the event organizers and supporters, I oppose approving the permit as submitted. Furthermore, if the permit is approved, then I believe that all expenses incurred for closing the streets should be charged to the event. We already spent hundreds of taxpayer dollars over the past 2 years for overtime of our DPW workers and support from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to hold this event. And that's my statement.
Thank you, Larry. Melanie?
I'm going to touch a little bit on what Linda had mentioned about our applications. So in 2023, the village created a more comprehensive application form that adopted policies from other existing community applications. So these were policies that other communities use. We had a one-page application form that was very insufficient, to say the least, and it did not entail appropriate expenditures and charges for items such as police or our DPW, trash cans, the rental of Old Town Hall, those items. None of that was included in these permits. So we worked on that, pulled that together. And a key element to granting approval of the events is whether the streets are shut down or not, because it does negatively impact the businesses and residents in the village. The village has the discretion to sponsor or co-sponsor events that may or may not close our streets. And that's just not something we choose. It is policy. It is what any municipality does. We had at least 30 different, I believe when we were on the committee, 30 different areas that we pulled from and looked at and read and researched. I want to make it very clear, though, at no time did this village ever turn away this event. And I don't think everyone knows that. And it's very important that all of you know that, at least for me it is, because I've been losing sleep. I attended the event. Now, will I now? I've never been so bullied in my life. I have volunteered and committed to many things in this community for 21 years, whether it's been elected, appointed, just volunteered for 20 years. And I can't believe how disheartening and upsetting this has been. The village, I believe, made generous attempts, Ryan did, for alternatives. And our understanding that Crossman Park was suggested. Hadley Park was suggested. We also suggested closing another road. And we weren't going to do any closing, and we suggested closing another road. All of those were turned down. I don't understand why. We were working with you. We wanted to work with you. This was your way to hold the event and still have it down here. But when you give 3 options, and when I read some of the articles, and I wouldn't go on the Facebook because I couldn't, but when I read some of the newspaper articles, never was it mentioned that there were alternatives given and that we weren't turning this down because of the event, or that some of us attended the event. Personally, I don't know who doesn't have queer family members or friends. I really don't. I thought we were over that, but I guess we're not. I mean, that's life. That's every day. This is over a street closure, and I had no idea, none of us had no idea that it was going to get this big. And yes, we do turn down, there was a Trump rally here a year or 2 years?
2 years ago.
2020.
Okay, thank you. 2 years ago. Now, had they asked us for a parade permit and to close down the road, we would have declined and been fighting that, because then the next weekend would be Biden, and the next weekend after that would be I don't know what. But we have to cut it off somewheres so that our businesses don't have street closures every weekend or for every event that anyone thinks of and organizes. There has to be some kind of rules, regulations, and cutoffs, and I don't think we're being given any consideration for that, and this is not fun. There's a scavenger hunt that a resident does. They use Old Town Hall. We do not close the streets for that. Our food trucks, we don't close the streets for our food trucks. We have those on Thursdays, once or twice a month, not sure, but in the summer times. But I just, and then on my last personal note, I don't feel that and Larry touched on this as well, I don't think that it's doing any good for the Abigail's Pride organization and event to post online or in emails things about individuals or businesses, especially that we are homophobic, bigots, hypocrites, racists, and un-American.
Haters.
I have never been called any of those things. And what is disheartening is some of those people have been my friends for 20 years. But now I know. And then many of those people, I've never met you. I've never had a conversation with you. Pretty unfair. And for an organization that is supposed to be about inclusivity and kindness and promoting welcomeness, that's doing the exact opposite. And just rethink that communication narrative.
Component.
Yeah, because it's a great organization and it's a great purpose. So you want people on your side, you want people to attend, you want the businesses to help out, but it's not always, it's my way or this way, or we could have worked together better. And I just wish you would have gotten that narrative out there too, that we were, and we gave options, that's all. And let's just be kind, and as you mentioned, you are better than this, and we are better than this. And let's just do that.
Kay Green.
There's nothing new that I could say that hasn't been said already. I wished it would have been more user-friendly, I
Yeah.
guess is the best term.
Tony, you made the motion, but you can also comment additionally if you would like.
Yeah. A couple things. Last year at the 175th, some of you remember there were some postcards that we had. And there was a lot of activities. Basically what it was, we were going to put all the activities for the year that we could fit on there. And there was one activity that some council members, and I will not name their names, got very upset because Abigail's Pride was on there. Okay? Now, I'm going to let everybody know, I don't care. I'm a Catholic, okay? If you're Baptist and you come up to me and start preaching to me that I'm wrong, I'm going to say something. But if you want to work with me, I'm cool. I have no problem. You go to your place, I go to my place. We can have dinner, lunch, whatever. Last year, approximately June, I was on this committee to make up this. And I told Ken that I could not work on that committee because of the stuff I was hearing. I did not ask to be removed from that committee. I was removed and was replaced by Ken, and not another member, but by Ken. So all I want to say, there's four people that are going to be up for election. So you want to keep going like we are, then just continue the way we are. But, and Larry, I think you had mentioned something, or no, I'm sorry, it might have been Melanie. It might have been both of you. You know what? Who cares if somebody calls you a name? It's called sticks and stones. I don't know how many times I have been on Facebook and I have seen political copy and paste. And I will say this, if a person on this council wants to do something like that, maybe you should go to a different public office because you're not doing nothing for this one. That's all I got to say.
Wow. Thanks, Tony.
Quite interesting. The good thing about being president is I do get to speak last. And Larry, thank you for your comments, and also from Linda, Melanie, Kay, Tony, I don't have the faintest clue what you're talking about.
Yep.
Well, let's just put it this way. I think you're talking about the Personnel Committee, and you got kicked off at it, and I got put on it. But that's...
No, because my Ring camera shows differently when you came up to my home unannounced.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
People know you're lying, Ken.
You were kicked off the committee, and somebody else was put on.
Off the committee.
Nonetheless, we have an issue here to vote on, and everything is been motioned, supported, and discussed, and I'd like to have a roll call on this, if I may.
Brooks?
Yes.
Green?
No.
Hayden?
No.
Randazzo?
Yes.
Nivelt?
No.
Quisenberry?
No. The motion fails by a 4-2. 4-2 failure on the motion.
I don't know, do we need a motion? Well,
No, you motion to pass it, now we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
This crashed and burned.
All right, we're on number A, new business A.
New business.
New business. New business A.
That's unbelievable, too. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, that was number 10. That was the item involving the permit for Abigail's Pride. As most people heard a moment ago, the motion failed by a 4-2 vote of this village council. The village council does have maybe another half hour of business to conduct, which is all part of our regular agenda. I just want to mention to anybody here that if they're certainly welcome to stay and participate in the remaining boring items that we're going to cover. But if they don't want to stay, and they're not required to. So those who would like to stay and listen to some ordinances and some other matters sure can. And everybody that came tonight, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
I'd like people to show up even if they aren't happy with us. It's good to see people giving their views.
Taking them off the committee.
I want 30 people at our next meeting. I want 20 people at our next meeting.
Yeah, I think a couple of the people are right. When you have like this,
The village council is going to move on to new business under item 11. It's a special event permit, Ortonville Icebreaker 2024.
Make a motion to approve the Ortonville Icebreaker 2024 as presented.
Support?
Which one is that?
It's the
Baseball.
Michigan Hawks
9 and
fast
10
pitch.
baseball tournament, the baseball tournament that happens there every year.
That's the end of it.
I think it looks like this.
Yeah, it does.
The one that's,
before
what
that.
date is it? Because there's two of
Yeah.
them from the song.
Well, there's two, but
Yeah.
Right, I just am doing them
313, Linda.
one at a time.
It was received on 313.
Okay.
okay, moved and supported. Any further discussion on the baseball tournament?
Yeah, who moved?
I did.
Okay, thank you. 'cause-
I know, got it, got
That's
it.
okay.
Who supported it?
Larry.
Larry did?
Sure.
I thought I made the motion.
Well, I don't know. Wait, who made?
I made the motion.
Oh, okay. I support it.
Thank you.
I have to have
I know,
a point of
right?
discussion.
I know.
Further discussion on this?
I do want to highlight the fact that currently there are no charges for the Department of Public Works, and I want the organization to know that they will be responsible for any DPW hours if cleanup is not acceptable after the event. Is
Well,
that
I would
our- is-
almost say that should be an automatic on all of
Yeah.
ours, but if it's
Okay.
not in here, I would,
There's just no amount written here, so I know it is in our
No,
form
yes.
that they are responsible, but I want whoever's organizing.
so the
to make
amount
sure-
isn't there because we don't know what it is yet, but they will get billed for it? Is that what
That's-
you're?
I just want to
And
make
that's
sure
how
they
that
will.
works.
I thought
Perfectly.
that was how that worked.
Yeah.
We are
Okay.
not
That is how
going to
that
be,
works.
we are not going to be,
Totally in compliance.
Yep.
yes.
That's all the items are what we charge for, but we won't know the numbers until,
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to make sure he
All
knows he
right,
will
we
be
also,
charged.
thank you. Those in favor of this permit, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, Tony says no.
Yeah, I'm
Spec-
saying no because it's
Well,
less
just-
than the 60 days that we require.
All right, so, special event under Lights Home Extravaganza 2024. That's also in our packet.
Sorry, Ken, am I doing a roll call on this or no?
On the,
We've done roll call on.
yeah, let's do a roll call on the permit.
Yeah, why not?
Although Tony's already a no, so.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo.
No for what I stated.
Right, I just
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
make
Yeah,
sure.
gotcha.
Nivelt,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us down to the next item, which is B, Under the Lights Home Run Extravaganza. I think that's a similar event.
I have how come I have Sandlot?
Under the
Sports?
Lights.
Well, that's what it's called.
Oh, it is,
It's the
Under the
company.
Lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
is it.
company,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Make a motion to approve Under the Lights Home Run Extravaganza 2024.
Support.
I have comments again. I feel that there's two items that I have a problem with. Number one, they have included the Brandon High School softball fields, which we have no jurisdiction over, so I think we should approve on condition that that is removed. because we have no jurisdiction to approve that, and that should not be included. And I do believe that Lieutenant Glover has commented that as long as they're not up at the school on one of these, so I just want to make sure that we do not have any approval that they can use those fields. So
Brian, how did you guys handle that when it came into the office?
It can be a conditional approval that we say we're okay if the school's okay, or vice versa.
Is that how it went down? We're just asking.
We haven't really discussed, but I'd let Lieutenant Glover speak to it.
I can comment. Which permit is this one?
Under the
one in
lights,
May, under
Memorial
lights.
Day.
Okay. Originally, I did deny this permit. I'm also the varsity baseball coach for the high school. And because the permit spoke about using the varsity softball fields specifically, I mean, there's not a community on the planet that during the high school season is going to allow anybody to use their field.
Right.
So I denied it for that reason. However, I did talk to Rebecca, who's the varsity softball coach. I put her in contact with Sid, who is the one that's in charge of this tournament. They came to a happy medium. For this year, she's going to allow them to use that. So I did re-sign and approve that permit for that.
Now, these are the
Those bugs will
fields,
work.
where are these fields that we are specifically talking about?
At the high school. Yeah, they have an overflow, and they've always used the JV softball field and the varsity field only, the two softball fields.
Okay.
Without the use of those two fields, they wouldn't have been able to have the tournament. They've had to cancel. So that has been corrected. They've worked those.
And while
bugs
you're
out.
here, my other problem is,
Go ahead.
they're talking about parking, and they wanted to provide a golf cart shuttle on our village streets, and I didn't know if that was something that, I know there's somebody that runs around on a ATV or a golf cart that is not fondly thought of by the officers.
We have ticketed and impounded a couple of those carts. However, there are some that are street legal and that we have allowed. Our issue with that tournament has always been the parking on Ball Street and the surrounding streets, mainly because it'd be impossible to get a large fire apparatus down the street if they don't park on one side. If they park on both sides, it's impossible.
Right, you can't get a fire truck.
I came through town last year. I have for the last 5 or 6 years for that tournament. They've actually done quite well with it, and if I've ever had an issue with parking on both sides, I went to the organizers of that, and they have taken care of it without tickets or impounds. They've been pretty good about it, really.
So those are the conditions I would like to attach, that the, with approval from the Brandon schools for those fields, and that the golf carts must be approved street legal.
I would revise my motion
And I'll
to,
support.
And are the expenses then that are happening at the high school expenses that we would cover, if there's any, or?
I don't believe there's any expenses at the
Okay.
high school.
I just wanna make sure. Okay.
I've
You-
never added staff for that event.
Okay.
I've had our regular patrol vehicles cover that, and then I'm always around, so I usually drive by to take a look at myself.
right.
It's never really been an issue. I mean, we have had a couple minor parking issues, and they've always corrected that. So, and Sid, who's the organizer of that, does not want this tournament canceled. There are like 38 teams involved. It'd be a disaster for their organization. So he has assured us that they will take care of any issues that come up.
Okay, the other thing that I did notice after the event last year, that the pickup was not acceptable. And luckily, we've changed our policy now so that we can charge them for Bob's work that he does, because Bob wants our village to look lovely, and he takes care of it.
Yes, he does.
And
But
that
there was either a lack of enough areas for all the trash that was accumulated, or I think they attempted, but it was just not a good thing after the event.
I talked to the organizer of that, and I've been a part of many tournaments, and that tournament seems to get larger every year, and I made him aware this year, we do not have the fields to support a tournament that large. And I said, I'm not going to allow you to use my varsity baseball fields if I want to practice that day and I'm getting pushed off my own field.
Right.
And that was the same concern with the varsity softball coach, was garbage left in the dugouts. He has assured us that will not happen this year at all costs, so we'll see.
We will see. I mean, again, it's a great opportunity for people to come to our village, and
Yes.
hopefully they will come into town and support our businesses.
Okay, moved, supported. Roll call vote, please.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Rosenberry.
Yes. On to item C, zoning ordinance adoption. Looks like we have about 4 of them that are in our packets. They are changes done by the planning commission and voted by the planning commission and approved for our recommendation. I've had a chance to peruse all 4 of them, and they're just new ordinances, so for whatever they're worth.
Ryan, did you want to talk on those at all? Or would we like Mr. MacArthur?
Or you're on the...
I am, but all I could tell you is we have been working on this for a year.
And I read all...
And I believe. Yeah,
3
two-
years.
okay, yeah.
But I
Yes.
did read them all.
Yeah.
And I see where they're all necessary, yet ordinances can be,
Yes.
yeah, well, they can be amended if they need to be. They can also,
Yes, they can be tweaked. We have ones coming down the pike that we have yet to finish. We're working on those. And things come up all the time.
we all know they're a double-edged sword because they're necessary, yet they're government overreach sometimes.
Yes.
And you just have to strike that balance between doing what's best for the community, yet not restricting everybody's privileges and rights that they would have otherwise. So,
Right. And when there's legislation, new, wind and solar, perfect example, Airbnbs, something just came out on that.
right.
It's coming out all the time, and we will, I mean, we will amend when appropriate
There-
and keep the council apprised. but-
There we have it. The
Do you
short,
want to say anything,
the
Mr.
short
MacArthur?
street
Want to say anything, Bob?
ordinance. Apparently, a street can only be so short. I'm just kidding you.
Bob, did you want to say?
No, he doesn't. He said. I think it was very self-explanatory in
Okay.
here, all of them. Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Aren't we starting with the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
yes, we're doing zoning
Yeah, we're starting
ordinance,
zoning
addressing
ordinance first.
private and sign.
Okay. Let's do them all one at a time if you don't mind.
I make a,
As a
Yes.
whole.
Yes.
Yes, 90,
You
you
sure may.
have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Where's the?
Bob McCarthy.
Hold on, hold on.
More than 2 minutes to understand it,
You better
Bob.
get me, because
All right.
I just want to make a comment about that. That was a real experience for me, because I've never had to deal with such a magnitude of a book. And we did cover to cover, which is not normally done any place, but the zoning ordinance is within dire need of being fixed entirely. But the planning commission, there's committees, subcommittees, night meetings. That whole board needs to be recognized. They spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to get this right. And some huge debate. I mean, some huge debates, especially when it got around trees. But but I just want to make sure everybody understands that entire board put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of extra work, studying and trying to get that book something that we can live by, and more than likely next week have to fix something.
I think you did an amazing job on it, and I know how much work is put in there. I was on the planning commission for 18 years, so
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
we appreciate the work.
Bob is a very good leader of the planning commission. He does a great job. You got us through it.
You,
I'll make a motion.
your position's secure, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a
I know, right?
I make a motion that we approve the zoning ordinance as presented.
Support?
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote, please.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes,
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Rosenberry.
Yes, that moves us to item D, which is addressing the addressing ordinance adoption. which is that properties be identified for emergency vehicles and also for UPS and Amazon deliverers so that they get the right package to the right front
Yeah,
door.
You got my package last time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and this was
I'll tell
done-
you what, it wasn't my size, so I sent it back.
Oh, boy. This was done as a standalone ordinance, and it is somewhat like the townships, and I know Bob worked with Carlisle Wortman, and I believe the Chief Quapis as well with this, because you worked on the original, right? So, yeah, but this is a standalone, so it can be enforced.
But I think it makes
easily.
perfect sense, and it's, I don't know anybody who would disagree with the idea that properties shouldn't be identified by an address for emergency purposes or any other purposes. And so it's a good ordinance in that regard. I certainly recommend that it be passed.
I make a motion to approve the private road ordinance for adoption.
Well, no, it's the addressing.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
reading the wrong one. I already crossed that one off. I'm sorry. The addressing ordinance for adoption.
Support.
Roll call?
I would like just one
Oh,
discussion.
you can
point.
make a comment, yes.
I did have a question about, because it does require residents to come in compliance within 90 days. I did have a question about, do we know how many residential and commercial properties would currently be already in compliance, and how many would need to bring themselves into compliance once this is adopted?
I think most are already in compliance.
I saw one that wasn't.
Some may not be.
Maybe Chief Quapis would.
I think
As any ordinance, that nothing can be retroactive
Right.
if you don't have the proper ordinance. But in the event that you need the police, fire, those difficulties, doing an addition, bringing something to the village for whatever reason, then we'd be able to go back to that ordinance and they would have to bring it up to date. That ordinance has been in the township for quite a few years, and those same questions come up. And that's not what's written there, is to retroactive, go back and get somebody that isn't.
Bob, is that those green little numbers people have on their mailboxes, things like that?
Well, yes, that was primary.
Okay.
Yeah, Fire
Now-
department, we sold those,
Yeah, okay.
and I wrote the ordinance, so it's like,
What's the difference between the green ones and the red ones?
Orange ones.
Oh, whatever they are.
So the orange ones identify properties that have long driveways.
Okay.
Anything over 900 feet that has a cul-de-sac and such, we identify that so that way our crews know where to drop large diameter hose, and we have practiced that evolution so that we can do that.
Good thinking.
Yeah, and
Really smart personnel.
Man, oh, man.
It's these smart people took
I just
over
thought,
from me.
You know,
so-
I got to pick my favorite color, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, and my comment was specifically about section 1.5, existing addresses compliance, where it states, existing structures must comply with the ordinance from which this article is derived within 90 days of its effectiveness. So that's where I was getting, everybody in the village will have a 90-day window to become in compliance with this ordinance, is the way I read the way it is set. So that was my only concern, is I know it's not a big deal to buy 4-inch letters and stick them on your house, but I am a little concerned about, I want to make sure that all of our residents will be properly informed and will have a chance to, meet this and not get slapped unnecessarily because we want to have good addressing, so.
Maybe Shelby can put a little blip in the paper about.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we get the word out.
He has something he'd
I
like
haven't
to
had
say.
my 2 minutes yet tonight, so.
Go ahead,
Get it
Chief.
right now.
Hold on, I got to.
So, first off, the addressing, let me put it this way. First off, we have not, as a fire department, ever ticketed anybody for not having an address posted like they're supposed to. Whether it's Brandon Township or the village, we have never done that. What we have suggested is, hey, listen, in the middle of the night, when you're having that heart attack and you can't breathe and you need help immediately, it might be really wise to have some kind of an address so that first responders can find your house in a timely manner. Because at that point, time is of the essence. And usually, that's enough. Don't have to do any more than that. I learned that from my
Uh-huh, Sensei.
And Chief, I could not agree more with I could not agree more with the importance of our first responders getting there in a timely manner.
All right, I'm not,
I have one question. On those, are we talking the green signs again? That's. with
No,
the
your house
address.
sign too.
It can be any sign, it's just gotta be something at the road, but yes, we do sell the green signs.
Well, because, you know,
MacArthur's retirement program.
with our house, our mailbox isn't in front of our house, it's in front of our neighbors.
Right.
And I've always wanted to get one of those green ones, but it's, I don't know how to put the
I'd rather have you have
arrow.
a green sign in front of your house
Okay,
than the mailbox.
Okay.
We have specifically said it.
Yeah, the ordinance says it should be on the
So,
If you're
we have always said that to put it on the mailbox is a problem, because if like you have just indicated, if your mailbox is across the street, and there could be a cluster of them together, we have to figure out which one that is. Put something at your driveway. That's what the green signs were for, is, we used to put posts in the ground for you, put the address blade on there, all that kind of stuff. That's still available at the fire department, but you can also get those at Ace Hardware. You can come up with a lot of different options if you don't want to buy them from the fire department. Okay?
What if you bought one and then somebody stole it many years ago?
And
well, they would have to have your same address.
right.
Obviously, they needed it
So-
more than I
Oh, my
did,
goodness.
apparently.
So
How does
you
that
let me know what your address is. I'll take care of you, Kay.
I want to understand that, but having the address on the house is fine too, right?
As long as it's visible at night. That's the key, is we have to be able to see it quickly
At night.
at night. That's why we always, if you're real close to the road and your address is underneath the light on your house, awesome. If it's not, and it's above and there's no light on it, it's gonna be hard for us to try and find it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the roll call vote.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes?
Green,
Yes.
Eden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Clifford.
Yes, and now, Linda, that leads us to the
Yeah, I'm going to keep my mouth
private
shut this
road
time.
ordinance that you jumped ahead to. No? Don't want to run with this one? Okay.
Give someone else a chance. I don't live on a private street.
road. Okay, I will make a motion to adopt the private street ordinance as presented.
Support.
Okay, any further discussion on that? I did have a chance to read it. It has to do with private roads in the village, the width that they should be, and sometimes the length. I'm sure that has to do also with emergency vehicles being able to get proper entrance and just overall safety and overall good for the resident and anyone near them that may share that private road, that it's accessible and it's in compliance with the ordinance.
Yeah, just real quick, I did notice a few typos in some of these ordinances, which I already relayed to Ryan. There's no need to go over them here because they're just, they don't impact meaning. So I just
Oh,
want to
good.
let you
Thank
know that
you.
I did see some and pass them on to be corrected. And just a general observation on this one and the next ordinance. I do find that our stylized writing in the headers can be a little difficult to read, so we may want to, at some point, revisit how we format the style guide
I
for this type
support.
of text. That'll be a topic just to think about later. That's it.
We just picked it.
I know.
We just did it.
But in trying to read it in here,
We
I'm
just
like,
approved it, like 5 minutes ago.
I know.
See, it's ever-changing,
It's the
Bob.
first tweak, Melanie, the
Yeah,
first tweak.
tweak.
We
It's
can't-
ever
it's just a
changing.
suggestion to visit that as a tweak.
All right.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported, roll call vote.
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Eden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Clifford.
Yes. That leads us to the last ordinance, which is a sign ordinance adoption. This is something that has kind of been changing and continually rechanging over the years and decades. to comply with the community's needs. We have a copy in front of us here. It seems to be rather safe to say consistent with other villages and other municipalities.
And a lot of this is state regulated as far as what you can and cannot put on signs and what you are allowed to say, not say type of thing. And that is changing as well, so we are doing our best to keep up
Right.
with some of
It's
those
a-
items.
That's a living, moving object there, even with billboards on 75 and things like that. They just seem to have lots of different characteristics that change over the times. Is there a motion on this?
I make a motion to approve the sign ordinance adoption.
Support?
Okay, move to support. Anybody else want to comment more on the sign ordinance?
Just that it seems very comprehensive. Good
Very
job.
Very comprehensive.
And it is a standalone
And
as well.
reminds you of that song, Sign, Sign, Everywhere, Sign? You know,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe it doesn't.
We're going to re-regulate them.
Who sang that, Ryan?
The five-man electric
Five-man
band.
electrical
I'm
band
impressed.
sure did.
Wow. You
Sure
getting some
did.
points?
I'm impressed with you. That's
1972, I think.
I got one question. I can't seem to find it in here. Does this address the signs that could go over streets? You know,
Like the banners, you mean?
yeah, I can't find it in here.
The
I know
banners?
that we
Yeah, I
don't
believe they
allow
are in
them,
They are.
but
But
I just, oh, okay. All right.
I'm trying to look, so you're thinking like the banners that say September Fest or some,
Yeah,
is that
but
what you're saying?
Yeah, the ones that
Yes.
are strung over, you know, from one curb to another curb.
Okay, are those our right, or, no? I remember it in there. Hold on, I gotta find it, dude. We changed this many times.
Or we can just,
It is in there.
Yeah, it is. I read it too.
Hold on.
It's a long meeting.
Ryan, what is that under, do you know?
I'm not sure. It
And was that one of the temporary?
it may be temporary and it
was
may
a-
be governmental, which both are
Yeah, because it
Not-
was over the,
held to the same rigor as the ordinance. They have a different set of requirements.
yeah, why do I think it was under temporary?
Because it is.
Oh, okay.
It is
Thank you.
temporary, yeah.
I mean, it's a temporary.
Right, right. I thought you found it.
No.
Hold on. Tony, can I get it? Can I get back to you so I don't have to waste everyone's time?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not in there, if it could get put in there.
Yeah, and I know it
because
is,
know
but
that
I will
was-
find it for
That was
you.
an issue some years ago.
Yes, it was. Yep.
so.
No, but thank you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna find, no, I'm gonna be fixated. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'll find it.
That's all.
Are we doing roll call?
yeah, roll call.
Why not? We did the other three. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was just making sure I could.
No, it's an ordinance.
Start it.
Oh, okay. Yes, you can.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes.
Can I have just a quick second on the ordinance?
You sure may?
Back to the street ordinance real quick. I know you talked about access and all of that. The key part of that ordinance is maintenance. You'll not run into the problem like we have off of Ball Street on several of these streets. Those are actually private roads that are not being maintained, and they're not yours to maintain. It's the homeowners to have contracts, and they are liable to do that. So that truly is the main part of that ordinance, is to keep it good. And I left out Ryan on our ordinances in that zoning book. We wouldn't have made it. I can tell you that for sure. We would not have made it without his help and
Agreed.
and guidance and trying to tell me what to do every single time.
I think it would have been much faster without me.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
lot of information that, when you do it once every 10 years, and you helped so much of that process.
I do believe we roll called that, is that correct? Okay, that takes us on to G, Sherman Park concession stand. We did read the updates that a couple people, or at least one anyway, is interested in getting off and running on that project. And I think, Ryan, this is just something for our information. Is it something we vote on?
Don't need a vote right now. We've been going back and forth with our DNR grant coordinator on what our next steps are. We'll need council approval in the near future, but I don't have anything for you to vote on with numbers today. We'll get started, and I'll keep you informed as best I can as I know we are eager to get that project done and over with.
Yes.
Have we gotten any more than just the one?
Just got one, but it's a good one.
That's still, okay, very good.
We have a process, and the DNR does too. For if there's less than 3 bidders, there's different hoops to jump through. So we're working on that right now.
And I just wanted to, December of 2022, I brought up the intergovernmental contracts. So I'm going to bring it up again, just as a reminder. We need it for this and for the pickleball and whatever else you feel is necessary. But we really need to get one of those with the township.
We're going to be working on that this
Great.
year. Cool.
Seems like even events, when they utilize resources across.
Okay.
All of it.
Next up is
Yeah.
small urban
I agree.
update. Reading this in my packet, it just sounds like it's the same thing we've been talking about, which is the sidewalk project that kind of went defunct, and we're now trying to give it new life and give it a new destination and keep the ball rolling. Is this really all it is about, Ryan, or is there more to it?
For the most part, just in the last couple of days, our folks from MDOT said we will be able to transfer some or all of the funds to fiscal year 2025. I'm not sure how much. There will be a small urban meeting in April, probably mid-April, to discuss next steps. We got to get the whole band together. Then that includes Brandon Township, Atlas, Groveland, Goodrich. It's a good time. So that meeting will be posted before our next meeting.
All right. Item I, Crossman Park proposal. It just says we're looking for partners with the DDA, Chris Hennessy, this Flights and Van de Brick, who are they are architects or somehow in the business of creating plans.
Did they come to you, Ryan? How did?
I've run into Chris at conferences a lot.
Okay.
We go back a ways.
Engineering firm, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And they're going to assist us with some ideas and some professional services, which include some landscaping, engineering, planning to work with municipalities, and it is for Crossman Park.
But it says if approved, so what are you looking at us to do?
So the proposal has a couple different things we could do. Essentially, we know, we've heard, the council has heard that the playground equipment in Crossman Park is older than me. And so it's important that we look at, what we're going to do there. And rather than just, willy-nilly applying for grants or things like that to hope that a magic solution falls into our lap to improve Crossman Park, we met with Chris to discuss what Flies and Van den Brink has done in other communities for parks and renovation projects that goes beyond just playground equipment. We know there's ADA access issues. There's other, long-term issues and things going on in Crossman Park that we could work to improve, preserve the trees, improve the lighting. There's all kinds of things that could be possible there. And to get a better grip on that, we talked about some public engagement strategies and different things we could do to gather input on what people want to see in the park, so that we, similar to Heritage, where we get to a point that we have a rendering, we know what we want it to look like, we can start getting some of those numbers together and, apply for grants and apply for funding with a plan rather than just a hope and a dream.
Cool. And just, it looks like their estimate for putting together a plan like that would be just under $10,000.
Yep. And there's a few other additional things if we want to pursue them, but
I saw the optional items.
Yep.
too.
That's the basics.
And so, I know you say you're working with DDA on this. Is this going to be a all village funded or a village and DDA funded? Go
Excellent
forward.
question. The rendering piece, if council approves, it would be village leads this leg of it. The DDA will be instrumental in soliciting input from people. They've got more communication tools than the village utilizes. So they would definitely be a partner at this point. Funding-wise, it'd be village. Going forward, that could be an output we talk to the folks from F&V about, of how do we fine tune who does what going forward.
Okay, that's it for Crossman Park. You obviously don't need a motion to move forward. You're going to move forward anyway, right?
I would like one if we're going to spend the money.
No, he wants a
If
motion
not, we
with a dollar
can.
amount.
If we don't want to, we can invite Chris to come speak with us in the future. And he's a better salesman than I am on these kinds of projects. But if we'd like to start with it, we can do so right now.
I'd like to make a motion that we make an official contract with F&V to create a plan to serve Crossman Park.
Do you have a dollar amount up to?
Just to the first, the 9,800.
So not with any.
Just with the first, line one on the,
And that comes out of the
Proposal.
park, park and beautification?
No, we have a park development
Park
line
development.
in our budget.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, support?
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? And I have some discussion, and that's that I'd like to know a little bit more about this. Who these people are, what they're going to do for us, and what maybe their end goal is, rather than a rabbit hole. But, that being said, roll call vote, please.
Hayden,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Brooks,
yes.
Green,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
No. Okay, that takes us to appointment of village council trustee. We did get in our packet someone who was interested in joining this fabulous group. Hopefully, hopefully they're still of that mindset.
Right?
Are they here?
she's
Yeah, okay, here we go. Right from the fire to the frying pan, so they say.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Thank you for that.
But please introduce yourself.
Ashley Mold.
Okay, we did get a resume, or we did get some information on you,
I
but
know.
seeing and meeting you for the first time is always a pleasure. So, that being said, the village council obviously is going to consider you. There was severe competition, I am telling you. The line, well, you saw all the
It
people
was-
here
yes,
earlier
it was
today.
out the
Most of
door.
them wanted to be council members as well.
Yes.
But in this particular case, thank you for the information you supplied. We did get a chance to look it over and approve it. I think what we will do is.
Approve what?
Well, we're not approving anything.
Okay.
We are accepting your application. It's going to be considered, and at our next meeting, which is
April 22nd.
April 22nd, barring anything unusual, expect to see your name as an agenda item on the April 22nd meeting, and this council will vote on your acceptance at that time.
Okay.
And about two.
Can she tell us about herself, though?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I read. I didn't know she was going to talk. I read it.
Oh,
She is not an interview. All right, let's do it. Just tell us about yourself.
so you probably see me. I walk numerously with my dog, so
Oh.
everyone knows me.
Yeah.
He's made Hamilton's Facebook page.
Oh.
Loves them.
What kind of dog?
He's a Korean Jindo Sapsali mix. He's a big floof. He's
I've seen him, but I wouldn't know that
he's-
that's what he's called.
Yeah, he's
fuzzy,
ridiculous.
that's for sure.
They have him listed as a
Have I not
dingo
seen
at
her?
the township now because they have no other choice. So
Yeah.
he's a dingo. I moved here. I've lived in Clarkston, grew up in Clarkston. Went to California for a while, tried that out. That was horrible. Moved back here. My buddy lived in the village, and perfect timings of selling houses, and he happened to have my dream house, what I consider my dream house, where I plan to retire, and it's right down the street from my nephew and his family, and
Nice.
I get to see girlfriends, and yeah, it's and I love downtown. I love walking the streets. It's safe. It's great. I don't have any issues. I run like crazy, so you probably see me running everywhere. Yeah, I want to see downtown be a downtown. I grew up in Clarkston and living in that and going downtown all the time and hanging out. And I want that for here, and I want to grow up here in a way. I mean, I know I'm not older, but older, but I want to retire here. I want to, you know, I don't really, my dog is my family, but I have my family down the street, and I want to see them have fun. And I'm excited about the Crossman Park idea because taking the nephews down there and playing and stuff, and I love that. And I love I'm a crafter, so any vendor events, I'm a vendor event person.
And so you're a technician. Are you an EMT? You're a paramedic?
I was. I recently let it go.
So you had all the training and.
Oh yes, yeah, I did.
Look at that.
I did.
If I drop over at a meeting.
I'm not licensed anymore, but I mean, I will do some good CPR.
If you haven't yet, you
won't. All right, but.
Yes, I did paramedic
I think
fire
that's cool.
for a long time, and then went the hospital route for a little bit, and now I do technically corporate now, but it's healthcare, so I'm still in the realm of healthcare. I just have migrated from killing my body to staying at home and working from home now.
I can see Chief wanting to maybe steal you.
Whoa.
I just want to say I have a great respect for all of our first responders, paramedics, and the firefighters and the police. And with your experience, I would love you to talk to Chief about whether you'd be interested in joining our CERT team, because we really need people, especially people with some training like you have.
No, we want her here.
She can be both.
She can do both.
She can do both.
That would be like crafting.
I know, well,
yeah.
I think Ryan's trying to, so.
Well, this is
That'll be good.
cool. This is good.
Just here first. Little steps.
Willing to try it out. I'm a why person, so since I've moved here, I want to know why everything happens, why I'm paying for this, why I'm doing this,
Good
why
for
I'm
you.
doing this. I might have challenged Bob a couple times, and he told me to come to council meetings, so I figured why not, and this is
I'm a why
going a little
child, too.
over on the joining the council meetings. but-
Actually, I will look forward to that because I'm the newbie on council.
Yeah.
And I have not been here even a year yet, and I have learned a lot. Again, I had a neighbor ask me if I might consider it because I am walking the streets of Ortonville all the time. But I was in talking to Ryan today, and he said that you had already come down, and I thought, perfect, somebody else who reads the packet and says, what,
I might
why,
be,
what's this
I
all
was going to
about?
say, I told him I'm kind of a why person, so the minute it's
So-
due, I'm.
I call it why child. We're why childs.
That person.
I'm glad that you are looking at it and wanting to know a little bit more. I find that the one thing I didn't realize on council is we don't all get together and chat about things in our packet. So sometimes you're like, what's all this about from this committee? And it's good to hear that you also said, what is this about, and went down and talked to Ryan. So
And a lot of people
appreciate
for
that.
streetwise, like are my age and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing their points of view, and they're asking why this and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe not have the balls to come up here and ask, but then I'm like, hi. So that's.
But
me.
it's true. I mean, that's the only way you're going to
So-
find. I had no idea what I was doing when I started years ago. I had no clue. So you start someplace. I think
Worth
it's
a shot.
great.
But-
I wish more people would get involved.
If I want to, I have hopefully another 40 plus years of living here, hopefully. So you guys are stuck with me no matter what I do. I'm not moving again. That was
Yeah.
horrible.
And-
So
There's a very good point, too, because you look, a lot of us are maybe getting a little bit older in years, and I think it's really good for our council to have a wide diversity of different people and ideas and
Oh.
perspectives to be able to
Want
make better
younger.
decisions for our community. So I really look forward to next meeting.
yes.
So Ashley, I'm going to have you on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
I think we'll put you early on the agenda, and I'm going to ask the clerk to bring the book in.
okay.
And if you're voted on, you can be sworn in at that
Okay.
time, and you can actually participate in that meeting.
Okay.
So you will
Plan
be
on
a,
I was a little scared of
What's
this meeting, so honestly,
said
I'm
plan
kind
on
of,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean-
okay.
but you do have to take the oath of office, and we have to do that. That's a formality. You have to sign the book and all the Constitution and all those kinds of things. But we can make it a fast track at the beginning of our next meeting, and then you can pick up a packet, and you will at least be able to participate in that meeting, being at least as well informed as we are,
Okay.
which isn't always the best, but you'll
try.
you'll know what we know.
Okay.
Ryan, does that work okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks for coming
Nice
in.
meeting you. Thanks for volunteering.
Village manager report. You came up with the, looks like the short version here, Ryan, isn't it, or the?
I always try to make it one page. That's always the goal, so there's plenty of detail and subtext there. RRC is one we're gonna be picking up here, with the passing of the zoning ordinance. That has been been the logjam for a very long time on all things redevelopment-ready communities. Lots of opportunity, once we re-engage in that process. By passing the zoning ordinance, we moved of the 10 or so remaining tasks of the 45 total tasks. Of those 10 that were left, at least 5 were zoning ordinance related. So now we are just a couple items away from being completed in that process. We'll have new energy towards it now that the zoning ordinance is completed. The Historical Society is up to all kinds of fun stuff. Mary, you can interject anytime you'd like. But their membership kickoff will be on April 9th. And we've been talking a little bit, the president and I, Judy Miracle, have been discussing the ways that the Historical Society and the village work together to make sure that the mill stays in top form. So we have an old agreement that hasn't been revised in a long time, and that's something we'd like to take up in the near future. And then just to add to what's going on Memorial Day, we today received the permit for the parade for Memorial Day, so you'll have that next time. But there will be Civil War reenactors at the old mill on Memorial Day. So
cool.
Lots of cool stuff going on there. Anything you want to add, Mary?
We'll be open the first Saturday of the month of April.
Of April?
April 6th is the first day. Awesome. Thank you for all you've done to make it ready for April 6th. You've been busy all winter long, so thank you. Yeah, the Pet Friendly Downtown project has been a DDA project for a bit. Maddie Waddy, who's a Girl Scout here in Ortonville, has been working on this project. We met a couple of weeks ago to discuss that project. It'll be coming together in the near future. The goal is before the end of the school year, so expect to see that soon. She's been engaged with businesses and different downtown users, and you'll see leash hooks and signage and watering bowls and stuff like that.
How about pet-friendly salt on the sidewalks?
It's
Pet-friendly what?
a similar
Salt on the
conversation, but it's a
Salt?
very expensive conversation.
Yeah.
But one
Yeah,
we
I
can
know,
have.
I know.
Yes. Bob and I discuss it every year. It's a
Road salt they put on the sidewalk.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you're walking
'Cause
your
they do.
dogs.
I
didn't know what you
Yeah,
meant.
that's really
That
hard.
It burns
on
their, the pads of their feet.
It's
Except for
between
my
6
dog
and 10
chooses
times
to
more
walk.
expensive than road
Yeah.
salt. So
Oh, yeah, it is.
If we had
Okay.
someone who wanted to fund that and
Yeah.
support that through the
No,
downtown
no, no.
streets, we'd be all for that.
We'll go back on track here, no.
Okay, other updates, BGYA, their annual report is in your packet, and then April 25th is Challenge Day, as well as Youth Recognition. So if you're not currently involved with BGYA and you would like to be, talk with either Bob or Shelby, because they could tell you more. They're looking for volunteers for Challenge Day currently. And you'll see all the good stuff going on in their annual report. Planning Commission has a couple other ordinances that they'll be looking at, as well as some site plans. Old Town Hall is getting cleaned the weekend of April 12th, so don't even try to go in there for a couple of days. And then I'm working on creating an email campaign so that there's regular communication from the village office. It's been a challenge to tell people what's going on, so that's my next effort to try to enhance our communication tools from the village. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, it'll be great.
We'll see. I write really long emails and people tune them out pretty quick. You guys have seen how long an email I can write.
I'd rather have communication. Is that something Tony can, I mean, I know he knows computers, and I am not.
He's our IT man, so we'll
Yeah.
be talking about it. The last one in your packet is the Euchre Tournament to support the farmers market. That's coming up on April 13th. Any questions, hit that QR code and you can learn all about it. I think that's everything from me.
Real quick on the Girl Scout thing,
Pet friendly?
yeah.
Yep.
How long is she gonna be, collecting money?
You'll see there's jars out. There's one in the village office. It's at several businesses throughout town.
Oh, okay.
That'll be kind of an ongoing thing. She's been working with Hamilton's to source the water bowls and leash hooks and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the plan is to install in the near future. She's got the signage designed. We shared the village and DDA logos and fonts and brand stuff with her, so it'll look like anything else around town. And then we walked around as well to identify the best places for signage. There's some that, the dog bags already have some, pick up after your pet kind of rules, but there's some other like code of conducts, like that cites our leash ordinance, things like that. So just some positive educational things, and then some friendly signage throughout the downtown stretch. So Mill Street as well as South Street, you'll see those in the next 2 months or so.
Is that the same program that the DDA wanted to do last year when they came back from their event?
Pet Friendly's been on the DDA punch list for a while.
Okay,
It's been
so-
one of the projects they've wanted to tackle in a couple of
Okay.
different ways.
Yeah, I heard about it when they went to conference and they came back. Leanne and Courtney were pretty excited. So that it's
And
the,
Maddie, it makes a very good gold award,
Yeah.
Girl Scout project that Maddie is running with. So she's doing an awesome job with it, and we're glad that she's willing and able to take it on. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to skip item 13 and jump right to 14.
Are we going to have final comments, or should I just make one now?
Make one now.
I just wanted to comment on the Challenge Day. I believe that's the thing I participated with at the high school. And if anyone, I don't know, I was reading the Citizen that day and just signed up for like 6 things. And Challenge Day was one of them. And this group that was in here today, to talk about what those high school kids deal with, it's a real eye-opener to know what those high school kids struggle with. And it was something that really, really moved me. Melanie was talking about not sleeping. It did affect my sleep, just knowing some of the things that these kids have already dealt with in their young lives. It's quite moving. So, and if you could take part, it's an awesome experience. And the young, hot math teacher that my kids had was old. But still at Brandon.
On that note, motion to adjourn.
Anyone support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? This lengthy village council meeting now comes to a close.